Hello disc golfers and welcome back to MDG Media for some more of Disc Golf Pro Tour coverage from the 2025 season. Today we're covering the 2025 Eastern Meadows tournament that we haven't seen on the Disc Golf Pro Tour Europe before. Of course, that's growing every year. My name is Elias Luukkonen and with me I have Maxime Tanghe.
Hey Elias, good morning. I hope you're ready for this.
I am ready and I know you are ready. I don't know if our viewers are ready though, because this course is gonna be interesting. A very polarized course, two different types of courses in the same course. Exactly. What do you think?
Yeah, exactly. The first part in the woods, second part more open. A lot of wind also yesterday, and first on the tee we'll have Dennis Augustsson, our European champion, Swedish champion, sponsored by Innova. Always a pleasure to have him on the coverage.
Second on the tee will be Clay Edwards, an American player, very smooth guy, has one of the smoothest backhands I know. Honestly, forehand also very good, and as you can see, has an interesting tongue out huck face when he's throwing.
Exactly, super interesting. Third on the tee we'll have Lauri, Lehtinen, one of the best players in Finland. Always a pleasure, also sponsored by Latitude 64. Let's see if he's able to do as he did last week in Konopiste.
And last, Hjalte Jensen, one of the highest ceilings of a player, can have incredible backhand, incredible putt when it's on. And we're starting on an easy par, but I'd say not the easiest of birdies here. Hole number 1, 107 meters, but playing multiple meters uphill, so actually you have to throw about 120, 125 to park the hole. There is a late gap on this hole which you have to hit with your straight to stable disc, ideally a hard thrown fairway or even a hard thrown distance driver. It's hard to go long on this one, and with that elevated basket, a lot of the time you have a difficult putt left.
I will agree with this intro, but really love this opening hole. What are you tossing on this one?
I prefer to go with a 10 speed, stable disc. But I think if you throw a bit further, fairway driver is good.
Representing Innova in Heatland, Dennis Augustsson.
And not the easiest of holes for lefties. Slight turnover shot coming.
Luckily, Dennis is pretty proficient in that shot. Not this time. Turns it over early. Probably gonna be an easy par, but a tricky run.
From Charlotte, United States, representing Kastaplast, Clay Edwards.
We had the pleasure to have him on the practice round yesterday, on Thursday I mean.
He's going with an overstable distance driver here. So choosing to speed up and a little bit short. The hole is playing pretty far, so that's understandable.
And the third to tee from Jyväskylä, Finland, representing Latitude 64, the Fribastor, Lauri Lehtinen.
Do you think Lauri's game is better than it has ever been?
I can't be sure 100%, but from what he's done last week in Konopiste, ending second behind an impossible to chase Mauri Vilman, I think he's quite prepared.
From Esbjerg, Denmark, representing Discmania, Heatland and European birdies, Hjalte Jensen.
And you were mentioning one of the highest ceiling, at least in Europe, and I will agree with that. Hjalte is able to destroy a course. Sometimes he's also able to sink, let's say. So he needs to find more consistency, but if he's finding it, he's going to be a really dangerous player to fight with within the next few years.
For sure, and I think a big part of that potential is his distance on the backhand side, which is pretty huge. As Clay there, that's going to be a common thing on this hole number 1. It's an elevated basket. While there isn't really danger behind the basket, you don't want to have that 7-meter comebacker on one.
Or you make a C2 putt on your first hole. Beautiful one from Hjalte. And a great start.
I love his putting stroke. Such great spin and very direct. You can see he keeps the disc perfectly on line. Doesn't really ever go on the left or right side of the body, just perfectly center. I remember the first time I ever played with Hjalte, he made 3 circle 2s, 1 circle 3 and even 1 circle 4 in that round. You can actually find the round on MDG Media and the 2022 Heatland Open.
Oh, was it?
Lauri with a good start as well. You saw Denka going for his patented run from further out. He always runs his putts and his forehand approaches from up to 40 meters.
Yeah, as he's not scared about comebackers. He's probably one of the best putters C1 in the game. He's not thinking more than 3-4 seconds. Just with the flow. And a good opening hole, 2 birdies, 2 pars. Not the easiest to birdie, as you were mentioning. Hole 2, on the other hand, is a really tough one.
Hole 2 definitely very difficult. One of the most difficult birdies on the course. We're playing downhill 129 meters, but not the distance that makes this hole difficult, but the line, which is extremely tight. So if you want to park the hole, the best shot is gonna be a flex forehand. You have to throw something pretty hard with a slightly stable disc on an anhyzer with that forehand. Ideally you hit the gap and then fade around the corner to the basket, but a lot of players also are just chipping a backhand hyzer around the corner to get to a position where they can get up and down for the par. I would be impressed if we some shots in the circle here.
Okay. Great shot from Lauri.
Let's hope you didn't find the OB long, because there's OB long only about 10 meters behind the basket. And so that's the other line. You can go for the wider forehand flex, which makes it even harder to reach the basket, but potentially easier to hit the first gap. That was a little bit early from Denka. And Clay, I'm constantly impressed with his sidearm.
Beautiful shot. Very nice. And the forehand crow.
Probably one of the only people that throw the crow on the Pro Tour. But he has definitely made a brand out of it.
Okay, first tester to save the par for Hjalte. Probably inside the circle, 8-9 meters, slightly uphill incoming.
Let's see if Denka gives this one another run. No, this time just trying to lay up. Actually gonna be a bit of a tester left.
Oh, and Lauri's putting for birdie from down there. Would have been a really hot start taking the birdie on this one.
Yeah, this hole being only the 5th most difficult hole on the course, but still averaging half a stroke above par, showing that this course will offer some huge difficulty later on. And that's an incredible drive. So he even went with the outside forehand anhyzer, which I thought makes it harder to reach the hole. But Clay clearly proving us wrong here.
Yeah, birding the hardest hole on the course, or second hardest. We need to check with hole 10. Hole 3 now.
Yeah, hole 3, 109 meters. This time we're playing uphill. It's about as far uphill as the last hole was downhill. Very similar shape here, just the opposite direction. It's gonna be a great hole for that backhand, right-hand backhand straight to overstable. You can go fairway driver or distance driver. The thing is, you need to time your fade correctly, especially as we're throwing into a bit of a headwind. So you want to throw something overstable, but you still have to get it around the corner. Of course, I think Dennis will be probably going with a forehand, since he has a good forehand. Clay here opting to go for the distance driver, which is very understandable. Easy to get that fade left at the end.
Very nice. Slightly in the circle. Always a scary putt with that small mount.
Little inside there, and that's the worst miss on this hole, because from the inside corner you have to work something like a forehand anhyzer at the green, whereas if you miss it to the right you have much better of an angle.
Solid branch, unfortunately, on the way.
Let's see if Dennis can get all the way there. This is playing really far for a sidearm. Yeah, unfortunately a bit inside. This is also one of the more difficult holes to birdie, just 17% of the field birding. I'd say overall the front nine in today's wind is playing much easier than the back nine.
Wow. Yeah, as you're saying, it was nice to take as many birdies as possible on the front yesterday. We're gonna be able to witness this when we go out of the woods on hole 11. It was blowing hard.
Lauri forehand roller, too much cut out of the hand, or not enough anhyzer, and this is not a putt you can ever really run. Just trying to lay it up. You can see the wind, even though we're in the woods, this is one of the more open parts in the front nine woods, so the wind is blowing. This is especially scary.
Okay, no roll. Nothing too bad for Clay. And a good save for Dennis.
I'm just here. How was Clay's game looking in the practice round?
It was okay. He was a bit frustrated, I would say. He wanted to go for another round after it, but nothing too bad, nothing too great. But we were also chilling and having fun, so. Severi Savigny 5 down through 14. And we are up there also. On to hole 4.
Yes, now we're starting the easier stretch of the front nine. This hole and the next 5 holes are gonna be all holes that you really want to birdie. Hole number 4 here, very short forehand, only 79 meters. The wind is gonna be blowing from the right, so you either wanna throw that overstable hyzer forehand with an overstable approach disc, or if you're more of a backhand player, you can throw a turnover, though I'd say the turnover is much more technical compared to just pitching a forehand around the corner. This is gonna be a typical result during this day, as you can see the wind is blowing from the right, so it's hard to get your forehand far enough to the right. You have to play it very inside if you want to park the hole, and where Clay is, it's not an impossible putt, but it's a very hard one to commit to.
Almost killed the catch cam. Dennis now. This is looking great. Oh. Not the greatest kick. Unfortunately, that's going to be a dangerous downhill putt for Dennis.
Now this is perfect, in my opinion. Out of the hand, really nice line. Just threw it too hard, but the line was really nice.
And better to be too long than too short on this one. So in the end, very nice shot from Lauri.
Ah, this is so scary. If I was Clay, I would never run this, but he's just too good. Look at that spin. Beautiful angle control.
And great wind read also. It was very, very windy on this hole and especially on this green. Almost for Hjalte.
Yeah, Hjalte not far from having a really nice start. And Lauri there. There is the putting stroke.
And good bounce back also after the bogey on hole 3.
Good job. 3 birdies on the card. Then he's getting back to even par. That's what you want to do on this one. I'd say a good score for the front 9 is going to be somewhere in the 3 to 4 under neighborhood. Want to give yourself a chance to be at least under par going to the much more difficult back 9. Hole number 5, another birdie hole. Just 103 meters. This is actually a beautiful, beautiful tunnel shot. Tunnel is pretty wide, so you can decide to go for a bit of a hyzer flip or a flex shot if you want to. Just the most important thing that you throw something that mostly moves straight and hits this late gap about 20 meters before the basket. It's a bit uphill as well, so if you want to, you can just jam it into the hillside there, take your 5-meter putt and move on with the birdie.
Sounds easy when you're explaining it. Now, go for the straight shot, 103 meters. Slightly uphill. Feels more like a 115 meters shot, I would say.
Yeah, I agree.
This looked okay. Last 3 to hit on the left side.
And I think this hole... Yeah, this hole had a left-right wind because we're playing in the opposite direction as the last hole. So
exactly.
Probably gonna be more turning shots. Or the wind is gonna be turning these shots more to the right than usual.
Exactly. As we just witnessed with Lauri.
Pretty surprising to see all of these players missing the gap, because the gap really is pretty wide on this one. And Hjalte missing it even way more than everybody else. It's gonna be a tricky par.
He had an injury at one of his fingers on the right hand last week in Konopiste, and he was mentioning he would be able to miss this tournament if he had to heal the wound. He was looking at his finger right now. Hopefully it's not the same injury that's coming back. Not sure where he went on his second shot. Lauri now. Good up for an easy Jeezy par. Yo,
damn.
First metal hit from 35 meters for Dennis. So comfortable with those forehand up shots.
Yeah, and if you think,
Okay,
wow,
back to back.
these guys are really running it. And if you think we're trying to give spoilers by saying first, that's not the case, but we just know for a fact that Denka will be running a lot of those during any round.
Thanks for the correction. And Lauri with an easy par.
Yeah, this hole, interestingly enough, playing exactly at 3.0 average. Somewhere in the middle of the course as far as difficulty. There was definitely more holes playing over par than under par, just because of the wind on the back 9. But it's not going to be one of those holes on hole number 6. 89 meters. You have a couple of options here. The OB left and right don't really come into play. The difficulty, or the slight tad bit of difficulty that this hole can offer, are the first gaps off the tee. You can choose a wide forehand hyzer or just a straight shot with a backhand or forehand. And then you would ideally hit just short of the basket and slide your way up there. I'd say this is one of the easiest holes on the course. Second easiest, in fact. And 52% of the field are birding this one. So as the feature card, you just have to give yourself at least a putt.
This looks good. 5-6 meters from the basket. So Clay opting for the left window. Same for Dennis.
Really clean looking release there. Oh yeah, in the circle. Should be an easy putt for Dennis there. Do you remember how was the wind on this hole?
Was it pushing left to right, slightly headwind, I'd say.
Yeah, seems to match the flight of these discs as the forehand eyes are getting pushed towards the basket. Hjalte actually straight forehand here.
I'm so not comfortable with the straight gap on this one. I don't know why.
No, it's much tighter than the forehand. Or the hyzer forehand.
Good confidence shown by Hjalte. Unfortunately, Lauri not able to capitalize inside the circle here. As Hjalte is after the bogey on hole 5. Good bounce back.
Another windy green here. Dennis jams it. Damn.
Yeah, very high in the chains. Staying inside the basket, sorry. And Clay for a third birdie within 6 hole. Very nice.
Now that's a good start. 3 under through 6. Especially with holes 2 and 3 being as difficult as they are.
In January 2026, MDG Media is heading to Senegal for a mission unlike any before. Not just to film disc golf, but to build it from the ground up. We will create the country's first ever disc golf course, visit local schools, donate discs and baskets, and share the game with communities ready to discover it. Through every step, you will be right there with us, thanks to a full-length documentary and live updates on social media. This is not just a one-time trip. It's about spreading the disc golf spirit and making a lasting impact. We truly believe that our sport can help make the world a better place.
And as you could see, not a lot of very under par rounds in the clubhouse, as the majority of the field is somewhere around even par or just a couple under. As we're moving on to the easiest hole on the course, hole number 7. It's just a straight shot, a little bit uphill, so you probably have to throw it 10 meters further than the suggested distance on the screen says. But you can do whatever you want here. Just a straight shot, straight putter, backhand, straight putter, forehand, mid-range. About 1 tree to miss on this hole, which Clay actually misses on the wrong side, but that still works out just fine. If you don't birdie this hole, you're probably not gonna win the tournament.
I didn't birdie.
That's unfortunate for you.
But I was three down through 6. It was okay.
Do you think you're gonna win the tournament?
I could.
Prove me wrong. Everybody on the feature card here putting, not throwing perfect shots, but that's not what you need on this hole. And Lauri actually being closer to hitting his line than the players before him and getting punished with that 1 tree.
Whoa. Crazy reaction.
What was that? Do you think that was the wind, or did he just
No,
slip
wind.
out of his hand?
Wind for sure. And now we have a different type of reaction. Just floating.
I think Hjalte put it on a hyzer and Lauri put it on an anhyzer. That's why the right-left wind pushed Lauri down and Hjalte up.
And it feels like Clay is on a really, really nice start now. If he's able to take 1 extra before hole 10, it would be perfect. 5 down before the hardest hole on the course. Easy bird for Dennis. Hole 8. Interesting.
Yeah, very interesting hole. You have a couple of options here. It's a straight shot that turns a little bit to the right. You can either choose a straight to high swing forehand or a slight turnover backhand. The main feature here is gonna be this branch that we're flying under though, because you have to make a conscious decision. Do you want to go under the branch or do you want to go over the branch? Both are good options. I'd say most people are trying to go under the branch, but if they throw a bit high, it might go accidentally over the branch. Yeah, really, you know, if you hit the gap on this hole, you're pretty much always putting. And then you just have to hope for a nice ground reaction, not to skip too far away.
This is looking really good. Oh. Tough reaction on the rocks. But still a putt, probably inside the circle. 9, 10 meters. And a great shot from Dennis also. Special to see him go forehand on this one, as the line fits the lefties pretty nice.
Hjalte hitting the only tree after the gap that is even remotely in the way. Lauri as well, trying to go under, doing it very well. Almost acing the hole, wow. I'm so impressed with the height control of these people.
Hjalte running it a bit early. Good bit. Clay to go 5 down. And he does it. And a turkey on top of the 5 birdies through 8 holes. Great start from Clay. Yo!
There you go.
Second in 3 holes, very high in the chains. But the basket still catches it. Very good for Dennis. Turkey also.
If you want to study some putting wrist mechanics, please look at Denka's putt, because I feel like he has one of the best wrists in all of Europe as far as putt. Doesn't overextend the wrist, just has that quick snap at the end of the motion. That's a good result for our card on hole number 8. Moving on to the last hole of the front 9. Last hole of this very scoreable stretch on the course. 94 meters, even playing a bit downhill. It's a very natural angle to throw. You can throw a slight hyzer with a straight disc or a flatter shot with a more overstable disc. Most people are going for a putter or a mid-range here. Ideally, wanna land it in line with the basket or even fade a bit left, because there is OB about 8 meters right long of the basket. So that's the main danger here. The gap is pretty wide and the angle is very natural. Let's see if these guys can fight the left-right wind here.
This is high. Going through the branches. Fortunate break, and good to have a putt after being too high on the drive for Clay.
I was about to say that I think Denka is licking his chops on a hole like this, just perfect distance for his forehand, but that was actually very bad.
Yeah, special shank very early. Out of the hand for Dennis. Now Lauri 2 down. Not the best start, I guess, for him. Not too bad, missing the trees. Very good. And this is probably going to be an inside the circle putt.
Yeah, very common spot where he is just that 9 meter short range. Those last rocks that you are trying to get over are usually good at stopping the disc, just like Hjalte there.
Very good.
Yeah, going with more power. I would say Hjalte is not the touchiest of players, so usually rather goes faster and more overstable if he can.
Oh, stop.
This... I like Dennis for running those, but I think this was just not the right time with OB directly behind the basket.
I agree. Clay with a shy attempt. Good height. Could have been good. And good control of the pace. Oh. Slightly too much right for Lauri.
A few misses inside the circle. I feel like he has missed maybe 3 from that range.
And Hjalte to wrap this front 9 up. Very good, 3 down. That's the window of score we were mentioning. Between 3 and 5 is really good.
Yeah, for sure. And Dennis also, you know, not too bad with the 2 under. But Clay, I think Clay with the 5 under, not saying he played anywhere near perfect, but that is the score that you're sort of dreaming about on this front. Being 5 under, having a good cushion for those more difficult holes on the back.
Especially this hole 10. The opening hole of the back 9 is very tough. And we can see here Clay in the lead. And our card is around top 10. Hjalte tie for 5th. Lauri is also around. Dennis not too far. So we are witnessing some decent disc golf. Clay in control. Thank you for commenting together, my friend.
Thank you, Max. We're gonna come back to you on a much more open back 9. So if you want to see some funny reactions with the disc reacting in the wind, please come back. Hopefully some more troubles from lead card.
Exactly, my friend. So we'll see you guys on the back 9. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you there.